And this is our review of Dragon.
I can explain.
Josh.
You okay, buddy?
Oh my God. Yeah.
You okay?
Just continue.
I got kind of hyped up on the fighting and
I'm
stuff.
bleeding.
You're not bleeding. You're fine.
Oh, my shirt just...
Here, I'll help.
还说哀家都是做屠夫的，屠夫？你到底是啥子人？
The synopsis of Dragon. A humble papermaker is hounded by a detective after he kills two men who try to rob his papermaking company. So what do you think of the movie, Corey? I know you're not a fan. Everybody knows you're not a fan of foreign movies.
I have complaints about it.
He has a complaint that it was in subtitles.
That was one. The second, it shouldn't have been called Dragon. It should have been called Dragon. Because it feels like it was dragging on so many parts. And when you got to the fight scenes, I was not overwhelmed like I should have been. That's my opinion. But go ahead.
I, of course, like this movie.
Of course.
Because it's the foreign movie way of telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
You see this in so many different martial arts movies. There's a man with a past trying to change himself, and then the people from his past try to get him back into the family, or just try to imprison him again.
For all you Americans, it's a Jason Statham movie.
Why did you do that?
Sorry. Go ahead.
But I liked it. I liked the whole detective. I thought the way that he did things was interesting.
I thought it was cool that the scene of the crime was like reevaluated how he thought, the detective thought was going to happen. I thought that was cool. But the first fight to me felt like a big hug fest, and I didn't like that. It's just like, oh, and it's like, oh my gosh.
A good martial artist is always in control.
Oh my gosh, I understand that, but
you're this far away of being pressure pointed again.
I love this movie. It was great.
I like the whole nerve and the power of the power of just control of people. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of like philosophy, a lot of just character building scenes, but the action was kind of short lived.
Yeah, it was. It felt like this. Literally, it felt to me like the fight scenes were maybe 3 minutes long. I think it was longer than that, but it felt like 3 minutes long.
Well, it's always fast paced. They're always in the foreign movies. It's always a fast paced fight scene that you're not supposed to keep up with, because if you can keep up with it, then you can see that they're not really hitting each other.
Right. I thought the plot of the movie was cool, though. Like, yeah. I thought it was cool, but I felt like it didn't deliver like it could have, in my opinion.
Because Tu Long is a masterful fighter. He was great in this movie, I think.
It was fun to watch.
He is.
Oh my gosh,
he's a good actor.
But it just felt like the story was not there for me, and it didn't make me feel like, oh, when the fight scenes come here, he's fighting for something. I felt like he was just fighting because, here, go fight him because you're supposed to. He cuts off his arm for no reason.
Yeah, I know. It was just like...
The guy literally helped him out of the coma. He's like, yay! And he's like, screw this!
Yeah.
It's like, what?
He stood up really weakly, and then he was just pressure point, cut off his arm, and he's like, I gave you my murderous arm back. It's just like, dude, you have another one.
Exactly.
And in fact, you use it later on to try to kill your father.
I have a feeling that they're just like, hey, you think this guy's really, really awesome with 2 arms? Watch him with 1. Like, what?
I bet you when he cut off his arm and then his brothers were like, you need to go tell Dad that you quit. He was just like, I would not have cut off my arm if you would have told me that 10 minutes ago.
Exactly. It's just like,
because it was like, there was a part in this movie where the detective pins the bottom of the dad's foot
with a needle.
And the dad flips around, grabs the ceiling whatever it's called,
Right.
piece of wood, powers through the floor, picks him up, and he goes, "Ah!"
Honestly, I would have given this movie a 3 if that didn't happen and the end didn't happen.
The ending was...
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
We're gonna spoil it, so go ahead and spoil it. If you do not want to hear the spoiler at the end, fast forward.
Skip.
The guy, his
Turns into
father,
a lightning rod.
and gets struck by lightning and dies.
I think that's to show karma, but it looked ridiculous.
That's stupid.
Detective pins him in the neck with a needle. The guy shoves his arm in the detective's like lung and pulls it out or
Right.
whatever. And then lightning comes down and strikes the father because he has a pin in his foot and a pin in his neck, and it makes him a lightning rod because it makes the lightning go straight.
Yeah, I didn't
through.
know. At first, I was like, okay, this guy's fighting him, and the guy wants to get a needle inside of him. Why?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
get it. And then I finally
At
got
first,
it.
I
but
thought
it's
it
like-
was to kill him,
right.
like just to stop him or make him bleed or something.
But that doesn't make sense because his skin couldn't get cut by
The sword, but it can get cut by.
needles.
I don't think it was his energy that was stopping him from being cut. It was the way that he was deflecting the sword.
Oh.
I would have liked it more if Too Long and the detective
Mhm.
would have beaten him together somehow.
Yeah.
And I would have liked it if the detective was tougher
Right.
and had a better skill other than using acupuncture.
Absolutely.
I like the fight scenes.
Right.
And I really like the reevaluation scenes and how you got to see what happened internally when the guy punched him.
My problem with the detective, though, and this is what I keep coming back to, show him as he's like a genius, but they don't use his
Yeah.
genius in any way.
I think they kind of make him overly complicated.
Right. Exactly.
They give him, where they give Too Long an interesting and fulfilling past, they give the detective too much of a pass.
And then they do nothing with him.
I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 5.
I'm gonna give it a 2. I'm sorry.
Really?
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Wow, foreign movies. They always go under your radar.
It goes. Psh. But that's not true. I've had some good foreign movies.
Yeah.
But it didn't work for me. So next week on Netflix Critics, we will be watching.
No, go ahead. I'm not gonna interrupt you this week.
Oh, this week you decide not to.
Yeah.
Usually you're okay with all the other movies. Kumari! You piece of crap.
You want to fight?
No.
See you guys next week on Netflix Critics. Don't forget to like and favorite if you enjoyed, and comment below.
Bye.
Bye.